Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. You are listening to Pod Studio, the place where we help you improve your English by just listening to natural, friendly conversations. I'm Alex, and I'm joined today by my good friend Emma. How are you doing, Emma?
Hi, Alex. I'm doing great, thank you. I'm really happy to be here at Pod Studio today. It's always nice to sit down and just chat about life while helping our listeners pick up some new phrases.
Exactly. And today's topic is something that I think everyone can relate to. We are talking about bad days. You know those days when nothing seems to go right? Maybe you wake up late, or you spill your coffee, or it starts raining when you don't have an umbrella.
Oh, I know those days very well. Actually, I had one last week. It's a really useful topic for English learners because in real life, we don't always talk about happy things. We need to know how to describe our problems, how to complain a little bit, and how to tell our friends that we are just having a tough time.
That's a great point. If you only learn how to say, "I'm fine, thank you," you can't really connect with people on a deeper level. Sharing a bad day is a very human experience. It's how we show our feelings. So for everyone listening, just relax, grab a cup of tea, and listen to how we talk about the ups and downs of daily life.
And remember, don't worry about understanding every single word. Just try to follow the story and the feeling of the conversation. So, Alex, tell me, when was the last time you had a truly bad day?
Before we start, if you want more fun English podcasts like this, hit the subscribe button right now and join our English learning family.
It really helps us grow.
Well, it was actually last Tuesday. I call it a disaster day. That is a phrase we use when everything goes wrong from the moment you open your eyes. It started with my alarm clock. It didn't go off.
Oh no, it didn't go off. That's a good one to remember. It means the alarm didn't make a sound. So you overslept?
I definitely overslept. I woke up at 8:30 a.m., and I usually leave the house at 8 o'clock. I was in a complete panic. I jumped out of bed, ran to the bathroom, and realized there was no hot water.
No, that is the worst, especially in the winter. A cold shower is a very bad way to start a morning when you are already in a hurry.
It was freezing, Emma, but I didn't have a choice. I had to get ready fast. I put on my clothes so quickly that I didn't notice I was wearing two different socks. One was blue and one was black.
Honestly, Alex, that happens to me even on good days, but I understand. When you are in a rush, which means you are moving very fast because you are late, you don't check the small details. Did you manage to get some breakfast?
No breakfast. I just grabbed my bag and ran to the bus stop. And this is the part where the day went from bad to worse. As I arrived at the stop, I saw my bus driving away. I missed it by 10 seconds.
That feeling of watching the bus leave without you is so frustrating. You're standing there, breathing hard, and you just think, why me? It feels like the world is against you.
Exactly. I felt like the universe was playing a joke on me. I had to wait 20 minutes for the next bus. While I was waiting, it started to drizzle.
To drizzle? You mean it started to rain just a little bit?
Yes, exactly. To drizzle is like very light rain. It's not a storm, but it's enough to make your hair messy and your clothes damp. Damp is a word we use when something is a little bit wet but not soaked. So I was standing there, cold, wet, and late for a very important meeting at work.
I can imagine how stressed you were. When I have days like that, I feel a lot of pressure in my chest. I start thinking about all the people who are waiting for me. Did you call your boss?
I tried to, but, and you won't believe this, my phone battery died. I forgot to charge it the night before.
No way. That is the cherry on top. Have you heard that expression before?
I have, but maybe you should explain it for our listeners.
Sure. We say something is the cherry on top when we are talking about a bad situation and one final bad thing happens to make it perfect. Usually, a cherry on top of a cake is a good thing, but we often use it sarcastically for bad days. It's like saying, as if things weren't bad enough, now this happened too.
That's the perfect way to describe it. My dead phone was the cherry on top of my miserable morning. When I finally got to the office, I was 45 minutes late. I walked into the meeting room and everyone stopped talking and looked at me.
That is so embarrassing. I hate that all eyes on me feeling when I'm late. What did you say? Did you apologize?
I did. I said, I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm having a bit of a nightmare today. Using the word nightmare is a common way to say your day is going very, very badly. It's not just a bad dream, it's a bad reality.
My boss is usually understanding, but some bosses can be quite strict. How did yours react?
Luckily, my boss is quite chill. That's a casual word for relaxed. He just laughed and said, Alex, go get a coffee and join us when you're ready. But even though he was nice, I still felt off for the rest of the day.
To feel off. I like that expression. It means you don't feel like your normal happy self. You feel a bit sad or tired or just grumpy.
Grumpy is the perfect word. When someone is grumpy, they're easily annoyed. They might speak a bit sharply or not smile much. I was definitely grumpy. I spilled some coffee on my notes later that afternoon, and I almost wanted to cry.
I think it's okay to feel that way. Sometimes when many small things go wrong, it feels heavier than one big thing. It's like a domino effect. One bad thing knocks down the next thing, and then the next.
That's true. But you said you had a bad day last week, too. What happened to you? Was it as bad as mine?
Well, it wasn't a disaster day from the start, but it was very tiring. In English, we use tiring to describe something that takes all your energy. My day was a long slog.
A long slog? That sounds like a very British expression. What does that mean?
It means a period of hard work that feels like it's never going to end. It's slow and difficult. My day was a long slog because I had so many small tasks that were frustrating. First, my computer decided to do an update right when I started work.
Oh, I hate that. The computer screen says 1% complete, do not turn off your computer, and you just have to sit there and wait.
Exactly. I sat there for 30 minutes just staring at the screen. I couldn't do anything. I felt so unproductive. That's a big word, but it just means I wasn't getting any work done. I felt like I was wasting time.
I think that's a common feeling for language learners, too. Sometimes you sit down to study English and you feel like you aren't learning anything. You feel unproductive.
That's a great comparison. And just like with my computer, sometimes you just have to wait and be patient. Anyway, after my computer finally started, I realized I had deleted an important file by mistake.
Oh, no, that is a heart-sinking moment. Did you lose all your work?
Almost all of it. I had to start from scratch. To start from scratch means to start from the very beginning, with nothing. I had to write the whole report again. By the time I finished, it was 7 p.m. I was exhausted.
Exhausted is a much stronger word than tired, right?
Yes, if you are tired, you might want to sit down. If you are exhausted, you feel like you can't even move your legs. You just want to sleep for a week.
So you finished work late, you were exhausted. Did the day get better when you got home?
Well, I thought it would. I thought, I'll just go home, cook a nice dinner, and watch a movie. But when I got home, I realized I didn't have any food in the fridge. I had forgotten to go grocery shopping.
That is the moment where I usually give up and just order a pizza.
And that's exactly what I did. But even that was a struggle. The delivery driver got lost, and by the time the pizza arrived, it was lukewarm.
Lukewarm. That's an interesting word. It means not hot, but not cold either, just in the middle. And usually for pizza, that's not a good thing.
It's definitely not a good thing. Nobody likes lukewarm pizza. It was soft and a bit sad. I sat on my sofa eating my sad pizza, and I thought, tomorrow has to be better.
That's a good mindset to have. Tomorrow is a new day. We say that a lot to encourage ourselves. But tell me, Emma, how do you usually cope with a bad day? To cope means to deal with a difficult situation.
That's a great question. For me, the best way to cope is to vent. Have you used that word before?
To vent, like a hole in the wall for air?
Well, yes, but in conversation, to vent means to talk loudly and freely about your problems to a friend. You're letting the steam out of your head. When I got that lukewarm pizza, I called my sister and just talked for 10 minutes about everything that went wrong. I complained about the computer, the file, and the food.
Does that help? Some people say that complaining makes you feel worse because you're focusing on the negative.
I think there's a balance. If you complain all day, every day, then yes, you become a negative person. But if you have a bad patch, a short period of trouble, it's healthy to talk about it. Once I said the words out loud, they didn't feel so big anymore. My sister laughed a little bit, and then I laughed too.
Laughter is definitely a good remedy. A remedy is like a medicine or a solution. If I'm having a bad day, I usually try to get some fresh air. I'll go for a short walk, even if it's raining. Just moving my body helps me clear my head.
I agree. Sometimes staying inside the house or the office makes the bad feelings stay inside your head, too. A walk can reset your brain.
Another thing I do is listen to music, but not sad music. I listen to something with a fast beat, something upbeat. It's hard to stay grumpy when you're listening to a song that makes you want to dance.
That's true. Music has a big impact on our mood. An impact is an effect or an influence. What about food? You mentioned pizza. Do you think comfort food helps?
Oh, absolutely. Comfort food is that food that makes you feel safe and happy. For some people, it's chocolate. For others, it's a bowl of soup or a grilled cheese sandwich. It doesn't have to be healthy. It just has to make your soul feel better.
I think for me, comfort food is definitely pasta. A big bowl of pasta can fix almost any bad day. But we have to be careful not to eat too much comfort food, or we might end up feeling sluggish.
Sluggish, that's a fun word. It comes from the word slug, which is that very slow animal that lives in gardens. So if you feel sluggish, you feel slow and heavy.
Exactly. So we've talked about how we feel and what we do, but what should we say to a friend who is having a bad day? If I come to you and say, Alex, I'm having a terrible day, what's the best thing for you to say?
That's important. First, I think you should validate their feelings. This means you show them that you understand why they're upset. You don't say, oh, don't worry, it's not a big deal. That can make people feel like you aren't listening.
I agree. It's better to say something like, I'm so sorry to hear that. That sounds really tough. Or, I can see why you're frustrated.
Yes, and then you can ask, is there anything I can do to help? Most of the time, the answer is no, but just asking the question makes the person feel supported.
Supported. That means they feel like they have someone on their side. They're not alone. Sometimes I don't want help. I just want someone to listen while I pour my heart out.
To pour your heart out. That's a beautiful expression. It means to tell someone all your private feelings and worries. It's very honest.
It is, but I also think it's okay to use a bit of humor if the friend is ready for it. Sometimes, if my friend is upset because they spilled coffee on their shirt, I might say, well, at least it's a new fashion style. If they laugh, I know they're starting to feel better.
But you have to read the room. That means you have to understand the situation and the emotions of the people around you before you make a joke. If someone has lost their job, a joke might be a very bad idea.
Very true. Read the room is such a great piece of advice for life and for English learners. Social cues are just as important as vocabulary.
So, Emma, let's imagine a situation. I'm going to pretend I'm having a bad day, and you try to cheer me up. Ready?
Ready, let's do it.
Emma, you won't believe the day I'm having. I just got a parking ticket, and then I dropped my phone and cracked the screen. I feel like staying in bed for the rest of the week.
Oh no, Alex, that's so much to deal with in one morning. A parking ticket is so annoying, and a cracked screen is the worst because you have to look at it every time you use your phone. I'm really sorry. Do you want to talk about it? Or do you want to grab a coffee and talk about something completely different to forget about it?
Thanks, Emma. That actually makes me feel a bit better. Just having you acknowledge that it's annoying helps. I think a coffee would be great. Maybe a very large one with extra sugar.
You got it. My treat. When we say my treat, it means I will pay for it.
See, just like that, my day is already looking up. Looking up means getting better.
I'm glad. And, even if the day doesn't get better immediately, it's important to remember that bad days are temporary. They don't last forever.
That's a very philosophical way to look at it. Philosophical means you were thinking deeply about the meaning of things. It's like the saying, this too shall pass.
I love that saying. It's very calm. It reminds us that emotions are like the weather. Sometimes it's stormy, sometimes it's sunny, but the weather is always changing.
I think that's a great lesson for our listeners. If you're having a bad day with your English studies, maybe you feel like you aren't making progress, Or you made a mistake in front of your teacher. Just remember, it's just one day.
Exactly. Don't be too hard on yourself. That's another common expression. It means don't criticize yourself too much. Everyone makes mistakes. Every native speaker has days where they can't find the right words too.
That's very true. Even I forget words in English sometimes, and it's my first language. It's just part of being human.
So, Alex, we've talked about our own bad days, but what about bad luck in general? Do you believe in things like Friday the 13th?
I'm not really superstitious. A superstitious person believes that certain things like black cats or broken mirrors can bring bad luck. I think bad days are usually just a mix of bad timing and being tired. What about you?
I'm a little bit superstitious. If I walk under a ladder, I feel a bit nervous, but I know it's probably not real. However, sometimes it feels like bad luck comes in threes. Have you heard that?
Yes. People say that bad things always happen in groups of three. First the alarm, then the bus, then the rain. After the third thing, you think, okay, that's it, I'm safe now.
It's a strange way our brains try to find a pattern in the chaos. It makes us feel like we have some control. Okay, 3 bad things happened, so the rest of the day will be fine.
It's funny how we try to make sense of a messy day. A messy day isn't about being dirty. It's about things being disorganized and complicated.
My life feels messy quite often, Alex, but I've learned to embrace it. To embrace something means to accept it and even like it a little bit. If my day is messy, I just think, well, this will be a funny story to tell later.
That is such a powerful tool, turning a bad experience into a story. When you're in the middle of a bad day, it's hard. But the next day, when you tell your friends, you can make it sound like a comedy.
Exactly. Like your 2 different socks. In the morning, it was a sign of a bad day. Now it's a funny detail that makes us laugh.
You're right. It's all about perspective. Perspective is the way you look at a situation. You can look at a rainy day and see gloom, which means sadness and darkness, or you can see it as a chance to wear your favorite boots and stay inside with a book.
I love that. I'm definitely a glass half full kind of person. That's a classic English idiom. If you see the glass as half full, you are an optimist. You look at the positive side. If you see it as half empty, you are a pessimist.
I try to be glass half full, but sometimes I'm glass completely empty, especially if I haven't had my morning coffee.
Well, that's understandable. Coffee is essential for many of us to function. To function means to work correctly. Without coffee, my brain is definitely not functioning at 100%.
We've covered a lot of ground today, Emma. We talked about disaster days, feeling off, being grumpy, venting to friends, and finding comfort food.
And we used so many natural expressions. I hope our listeners are feeling more confident about describing their own bad days now. It's not just about the vocabulary, it's about the feeling behind the words.
Before we finish, let's quickly talk about how to end a bad day. What is your nighttime routine to make sure the bad day doesn't follow you into tomorrow?
Good question. I like to unplug. This means I turn off my phone, my computer, and the TV. I try to stay away from screens for at least an hour before bed. I might take a warm bath or read a light book. It helps me wind down.
Wind down. That's a great phrasal verb. It means to gradually relax after a period of excitement or stress, like a clock slowing down.
Yes, and I also like to write down one good thing that happened, even if it was a tiny thing. Maybe the pizza was lukewarm, but the delivery driver was polite. Or maybe the rain was annoying, but I saw a beautiful bird. It helps me end on a high note.
To end on a high note. That means to finish something with a positive or successful event. I think that's a perfect goal for every day, no matter how bad it started.
I agree. Even the worst days have an end, and sleep is like a magic button that lets us try again tomorrow.
Well, Emma, thank you so much for sharing your stories and your advice today. I always enjoy our chats here at Pod Studio.
Me too, Alex. It was a pleasure. And to all our listeners, thank you for spending your time with us. We know learning a language can have its own bad days where you feel like you aren't understanding anything, but don't give up.
That's right. Every minute you spend listening to us is a step forward. You're doing a great job. If you had a bad day today, we hope this podcast made it a little bit better, or at least gave you some words to describe it.
Definitely. Take care of yourselves, drink some water, and maybe have some of that comfort food we talked about.
We'll be back soon with another episode to help you on your English journey. Until then, stay positive and keep listening to Pod Studio.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.